Back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, welcome back. It is another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here at Soonerscoop.com studios on Historical Campus Corner. We welcome in the boys, Josh, Eddie, George. I am Carey Murdoch. Welcome to the show, everybody. We've got an action-packed week. It's been content galore, which is great. It means that we're all very busy, and you've got a lot of content to both digest on the site in form of articles and stuff on YouTube, and now we've got the Unofficial 40 that we're going to get ready to go over. I may have to step out here for just a second, get a deal with some interns that are doing some work today. I know you guys want the studio finished, so...
Well... Tomorrow's a big day.
It's not a big day.
It could be a massive day. It's a big day.
If you want to do a show from the studio tomorrow, we can, damn it, but that doesn't mean everything won't be finished even when we start it.
I don't want to get it in there until August. So this is the George thing. So we will grant an extension if needed.
Yeah.
Were you here till 9:30 last night editing stories and
what time did you get to work yesterday?
Noon?
I don't know about that. I don't even remember.
Why are you hung up? Why are you hung up on being what time people get here? You're usually always the last person here.
That's not true.
And the first person to leave.
I beat you here today.
I can't say that
every day this week.
You are the first person to leave every day.
Okay, all right. Are we doing this, Carey?
You started this. I mean,
we had a deadline, March 12. And it's okay if we're not going to make it. I was just giving you a hard time.
Do you like having content on the website? Do you like us making money?
That's debatable. I don't know if we're making anybody. I do this out of the
kindness of
care
your heart.
and kindness of my heart. Yes.
Just do it so your parents have something to watch at home.
I don't even think they watch it. So yeah, I couldn't say that either.
Do they listen to you on the radio in the morning?
Occasionally, I don't know. I guess sometimes.
My parents do most of the time. I think they've kind of gotten over it though.
Anyways, I'll be staying here tonight till midnight at least.
No, you won't be.
Yes, I will. I've got so much to do till midnight tonight here.
I have no idea where this is going, so let's just go somewhere else. Anyway, Josh, welcome. It's been a busy week for you. I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it felt like I got to hand the baton to you guys yesterday. Tuesday, right? No, it's Monday. Yeah, Monday with the meeting. Sorry, little off my days here.
Monday threw
spring
everybody
break
off.
is throwing me for a real loop. Obviously, huge weekend for recruiting. All of that worked out very, very well for Oklahoma. Keep hearing. Obviously, conversations are still going on. Everybody I talk to, it's glowing. Like that, they are very excited about what could come.
The vibes are high.
And I do want to apologize to you and the girls because I knew that you guys were going to go down to Puerto Vallarta for spring break and couldn't after the takeover that has happened there recently with the cartels.
Well, I thought of sending them on their own, but that seemed even a little riskier. So we just called it off.
You wouldn't have to do you wouldn't have to get involved in car insurance fraud. They just take care of it for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just go to a Costco.
That's a solid point. We have some cars getting up there in mileage a little bit. That could cover some bases for us.
Get a nice. I got one of those nice checks in a hailstorm for my car one time. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, you don't want to be a part of that. You don't want to be a part of a hailstorm.
You have to buy another one. That's the problem.
That is the worst.
We had that one time with Tiffany's car. We had to literally take it in the shop 6 different times. They kept telling us it was fixed, and then there would be some sort of massive electrical problem.
Because of a hailstorm?
Yes.
Really?
Like they were supposed to fix the body, and they just kept breaking other things while they should have just totaled the car, and they just didn't do it.
I think the offer should be still extended. I know that spring break's the rest of the week, but they could come up here and do a little work release with the internship program with Sooner Scoop, and then we could maybe roll over to the South Side and have them do some hands-on experience working with ICE.
Eddie, I would like to see you spend 2 hours with Layla. I want to see how long you could last with her questions because she's at that age where everything's a question. And so. I put her to bed and she's like, Dad, just one question. I'm like, okay. And it's inevitably she sits there on the spot and tries to think of it to keep me in the room just a little longer.
I'd send her over to spend time with Aunt Erin, and she could ask her all the questions.
She would love that.
We want to start with recruiting, or we want to go football here? Team stuff.
I think we've got the recruiting report last night. We can start with some team stuff here. I mean, obviously, we're doing a lot of videos right now on YouTube about the media day. I'm just calling that spring football media day. But I thought, and you mentioned it. This is one of the last things you mentioned because you guys played the tight end stuff, and I hadn't really had a chance to go listen to all that. But Hayden Hansen, I mean, just unbelievable.
He will be up there for. I can already tell you. I don't remember if we did the media award last year. But if we were still doing it, I would imagine that Hayden Hansen will definitely be on the short list of guys. I think we're going to enjoy talking to him over the next, couple of months here, leading into the season and throughout the season. It seems like that entire room, Josh. I don't know how much you took in from Jason Witten on Monday when we talked to him, as well as some of the new guys, but very impressed. Very impressed. How do you feel? Let's start with Jason Witten. In terms of talking to him, I think that George and I kind of walked out of there with the same feeling. If you told me that he was on like the Dan Campbell, Mike Vrabel trek, and obviously he's making a bigger jump, going from high school to college, but it just kind of feels like maybe that's where that's ultimately going to be at. I know that OU fans probably don't want to hear that right now, but it's just kind of the reality of the situation. I think it speaks to how good I think he's going to do while in Norman.
Well, the two things I would say that I know why OU fans don't want to hear that, but if it's going to be an NFL track, that's fine. Like that's not going to hurt Oklahoma with Cooper. Like that's not going to have any relationship. So I think if he was to leave, you hope it's in the on the NFL path. At the same time, guys, if he wouldn't have mentioned Vrabel or Dan Campbell, do you feel like you still would have come away with those conclusions? Like the energy was so similar just listening to him talk. Like there's an intensity to those kind of guys that just makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, and he just is like super sharp. I think just talking to him, you can tell he really understands the game, and I mean, which we expected, right? Like this guy's met with the media a ton and throughout his career, and I mean he's one of the greatest to ever do it. But I mean, I told Eddie, I think there's a very good chance he's in Norman like a couple years and then he's gone.
We will cherish all of those years with him, though. Yeah.
I just, just because, and maybe I could be totally wrong, whatever, but
and he did
I think people are going to come at him with better jobs.
And he did talk about like he really wants to help the 18 to 23-year-old, obviously the college age athlete. Certainly when you're talking about the tight end position as a whole and the guys that they brought in, it looks different just in terms of talking to those guys from a physicality standpoint. It's different from what they've had on campus. It's just going to be interesting to see how they kind of acclimate themselves. And obviously talking to Hayden Hansen, I think that, and even Rocky Beers a little bit, George and I kind of featured this on Wednesday's practice report on YouTube, is the fact that they want to be able to run the ball out of 12 personnel, 13 personnel. They want a lot of tight ends a part of this offense, Josh.
Now, it was Hansen. Again, I've gotten through most of it, but it was Hansen, right, that said something about, do you know how important tight ends are to the running game or something like that? Like it was something to like, and absolutely what we've been talking about. We're like, okay, sure, the offensive line's got to improve. It's got to get better. But if that room's better, it can change the math for their run game on a huge level. And I love that he gets that and sees himself as, kind of a, for a cheesy kind of way to say it, a tip of the spear kind of guy. Like he'll help lead the run game. Yeah,
and I think that's ultimately why they went out and got him. But even Rocky Beers and Jack Van Dorseller and those guys, like I think that they're going to be able to come in and be run blockers and help them. I mean, the kid from Tennessee, he was the number 2 tight end, and he ran a lot of 12 personnel. Like he was telling me, he's like, that was basically my job last year, was to come in and be a blocker. So I think you're going to see them do that. And it goes hand in hand. Like everything we've seen this offseason, guys, whether it's the hiring of Jason Witten, promoting Kevin Wilson with the big raise, Deland McCullough that knows Kevin Wilson, like there's so many signs that point towards they want to be able to run the football a heck of a lot better, which obviously they do, but it seems to be a massive emphasis this offseason. I think it's going to be big this spring.
We talked a lot about Hayden Hansen and Rocky Beers, but Josh, do you remember Jack Dorsler at Southlake, just in terms of his recruitment, what that looked like, how he ultimately landed in Knoxville?
Yeah, Oklahoma had some connection there. I'm trying to remember. I believe they offered him, but I don't think, at least until kind of later in the game, were they really that involved. So it was a guy like I kind of followed from a distance because you heard good things. Like you heard, this guy's really athletic. He's there was always praise for him, but there wasn't a lot of like, okay, you've got to lock in and really know this guy. So he kind of went off my radar a little bit, but it was my understanding is he was kind of a late bloomer, like kind of really grew into his body, was kind of a lankier kid. And then, I'm guessing what you saw yesterday or I saw on Monday was a very impressive kind of physical looking dude. So it sounds like he kind of made a jump somewhere midpoint of his junior year forward and really kind of went from definitely going to be a D1 guy to, he's a P4 kind of high level guy.
Is Trynae Washington somebody that we've forgotten about? Just
Yes.
in terms of tight end, like, is he really 270?
I don't know.
If that's the big question going into, I guess, the first time that we see him here during the spring.
Eddie, I talked to someone who we know well who has seen him.
I think I know.
Confirmed. Like
Wow.
he said, yes, that is accurate. I said, what does it look like? And he goes, he looks amazing. I don't know what happened. Eddie, I mean, you remember.
I just moved
2
him up
years
the depth
ago, this
chart.
guy was
How tall is he?
12, maybe?
Every bit of what, Josh, what do you think? 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah. Uh-huh. But this was not
his
like
senior year, he probably weighed, I would guess, 170.
No. That's too much.
Too much?
But if you
Okay,
told me, like,
I thought I was going to help him out a little bit. You think that's too much?
if you told me 200, no. Like if you told me 200, I would buy that.
And he's a big
170,
body.
no way.
He's definitely a big body.
I mean, what's he
Yeah.
listed at on Sooners?
He's
Hold on.
officially maybe become my most interested guy, if that's the case then, Josh.
I am absolutely fascinated to see what he looks like. And guys, there's been some buzz that like he still was testing as one of their better tight ends in some of the sprint stuff and the offseason stuff they do. If that's true, then that tight end room has changed even more than we realized.
He was
Who were we
listed
talking
at
about at 170?
Trynae Washington.
Trynae Washington.
He's at 270. He's at 270
he
right
was
now.
248 last year listed.
Damn. I
We
didn't
haven't
realize he
seen
was
him,
that
though,
big.
because
But he put on
Josh
he
is
put,
confirmed.
it's confirmed what.
270.
But I'm saying, I want to see how he's carrying that weight.
Yeah, Josh was told very, very well by somebody that would definitely be in on the day.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm with you, Carey. Like I don't know how that adds up. I don't know how that's possible, but it sounds like it's true, and I am dying to see what that looks like.
Because he was hurt during the spring. And by the way, I'm back. I gave the interns all my money and sent them to a laundromat. So
Should have killed him.
during the fall, he was hurt, so he's always doing. He had pads on and stuff, but I don't know what you guys said. I didn't think he had great. He wasn't carrying his weight well. He had gained weight, but it was just like he was kind of bulking or just trying to put pounds on it. It wasn't like.
I don't remember.
From
honestly,
what I
I
could tell.
can't say
A lot of milkshakes.
I wasn't paying attention to him enough, but like he's certainly somebody that I think is going to have an opportunity this spring to kind of show like, hey, I can help. Like I think we all agree Hayden Hansen's going to be the guy. He's going to be the first tight end out there, but like who that number 2 is, I think is kind of up in the air. And I think Trynae, if he's really put on that weight and holds it well, and we know he's a great athlete. Like
Let me ask you this question: who will be a more productive tight end? Will it have been Blake Roberts or will it have been Reagan Beers when he's done?
Well, Reagan Beers plays basketball.
Or
and is a woman.
Yeah, Reagan
That would
Beers.
be
Sorry, Rocky
historic.
Beers. Rocky Beers
And who'd you say Blake Roberts played at
Jake
OU? Like
Roberts.
or Jake Roberts. Yeah.
there was a Blake
So
Roberts.
Jake Roberts and
reset.
Rocky Beers. Jake Roberts and Rocky Beers.
Will it be similar? Will one be a lot better than the other?
I think Jake
Is that
Roberts.
his comp? I guess.
Jake Roberts. What was his stats weren't amazing.
No, but he did play a lot in the run game.
I kind of think it's going to be Roberts just because I think there's going to be guys like the kid from Tennessee whose name I keep messing up.
Van Dorselier.
Yeah, Van Dorselier and Trynae Washington that I think could pass up Rocky Beers this season. I'm looking up Jake Roberts' stats.
I don't think that'd be crazy.
I think I'm higher than the market on Rocky Beers. Like I like Rocky Beers quite a bit. I think he's pretty interesting.
Jake Roberts had 12 receptions, 112 yards, and 2 touchdowns, but he was easily their best blocker though as a tight end. And him.
It was either him or Bauer Sharp. Who do you want blocking?
Right. So I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe equal.
I think it's I would hope that he would be a little bit more productive, but I don't know. He's not an overly big guy, Rocky Beers.
The question that plays into that for me, guys, is how much are they going to throw to Hayden Hansen? Like, we know he's going to be out there a ton. Like, but how much is it where he's kind of he's out there, and then when they bring Beers on, he's kind of the move guy, and they can do a little bit more with him in the passing game? I don't know. I just kind of wonder.
Yeah,
the thing is, we saw John Mateer throw to Jaron Kanek early in the season, and it kind of tailed off. But as we've talked about, he's not really a tight end, and he ran up 4.5 at the combine.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's like if Mateer looked at him more as a receiver than he did a tight end, because obviously, George, I remember way back when you looked up Ben Arbuckle's tight end usage, and it wasn't high.
No, but they did use him a lot in the red zone. Caught a lot of touchdown passes. And Rocky Beers, I think he caught, 7 touchdowns last year for Colorado State? Like, he's been a red zone guy. So
I have no doubts that they're going to have tight ends out there a lot more, trying to set the edge.
For sure.
With Brent talking about the run game and his frustrations with it last year, they're going to play a lot. I truly do believe that. You'll see him on the field a lot. You'll see a lot of 12 personnel.
Yes. I agree.
And we saw that at times last year when they didn't have a good tight end room.
Yeah.
They tried to do it, and it was terrible.
Yeah, because they take Satania off the field.
Yes, yeah. And it was also just like they would try to run the ball 12 personnel, and it was worse than when they tried to run with no tight end.
By the way, I would say if we're just talking about like size and physical looks, like Jaden Petit, like first guy off the bus, just massively impressed with him. I had no idea he was that big.
Yeah, I didn't spend a whole lot of time with the freshman wide receivers, but did spend some time with Parker Livingston and obviously Trell Harris.
Yeah, he was surrounded the whole day.
Highlighted those guys on Wednesday's program, talking about all the transfers and the new faces in the program. And, if nothing else, I think that they have some really good options. How that comes together is going to be rather interesting. I did think that, and I don't know if I've mentioned it on any of the YouTube stuff, I saw Elijah Thomas at the baseball game last weekend.
You haven't mentioned this to me.
As expected, looks incredible.
Like, looks like he's gained some bulk?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I think he's ready to take that next step. And what that looks like, I don't know. But I would be flat out shocked if he's not in, like, some type of rotation along with, Harris, Livingston, Satania, Thomas, I feel like is a pretty damn good role.
Wouldn't that be the second straight year we were shocked he didn't have a bigger role?
I think that looking back on last year, no. I wouldn't say that I was shocked. I think that it was just another one of those things where was what he was being asked to do, that step in taking it from Shakota to playing on a Saturday at the Cotton Bowl or wherever, I think we were probably a little naive to think he was just going to be able to step in and do that.
Maybe I'll have some better vision about Elijah Thomas this year and what he's doing, because I didn't have it last year, or I just need to go see Enjoy.
You do, and I think you should. Spring is springing, Sooner fans. Patty's chasing another national championship. The spring game is back, and if OU sports are the reason for the season, LASIK and lens replacement at Enjoy Vision are your ticket to seeing it all clearly. Whether you were born with a little boomer or a little Sooner, Enjoy Vision provides personalized vision correction for every generation. Don't get benched by contacts or reading glasses. Schedule your free LASIK or lens replacement consultation and join Gen C at enjoyvision.com. Letter N, Joy vision.com. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop gets a fresh perspective.
One of the things I enjoyed Hayden Hansen talking about was watching OU play in the college football playoff and wondering why it was that they weren't there as well with the talent that was around him. He's here to try and help Oklahoma go further. And you yourself, you can use Cody Drug to help you go further in your health goals. because you can start your own run towards a national championship, whether you're looking to drop weight, boost energy, or just feel better heading into 2026. Cody Drug has you covered. They've got the McQuestians covered. They have families covered. They also would like to team up with Oklahoma Med Spas and longevity clinics to get you covered because they deliver high-quality peptides quickly, safely, and with top-tier service. They also offer multiple custom compounded peptide-based weight loss options, including popular GLP-1 medications, and performance-focused peptides that help you recover faster, burn fat, and stay sharper. So while the Sooners are out on the practice field this spring trying to get to know each other a little better, to get to know John Mateer a little bit better as a quarterback, they want to help you chase your own championship. Visit CodyDrugRx.com to learn more and see how you can get started. Cody Drug, personalized medicine built for champions. And also, don't forget to check out their social media pages at Cody Drug RX on Instagram. And our guy Will walk you through anything that you need to feel better in your day-to-day activities. All right. So back to media days. And obviously, Jonathan Hatton was a guy that a lot of people wanted to talk to. I don't know, George, did you spend much time with Hatton? Or I know Eddie was over there quite a bit.
I think Bob spent the most time with him maybe. But
what did you kind of take Eddie out of, his thoughts on, the situation coming? I was standing over there when he talked about it. But it seems like, he's okay with the way things, and he's actually happy for DeMarco Murray that he's been able to take the step to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that Jonathan might have tweeted it at the time, but I think there's a lot of understanding. I mean, I don't think that you can obviously disappointment, but I don't think that you can be like angry about the situation. He's moving on to the National Football League, where a lot of these guys want to ultimately end up. So, I think that like immediately when that all went down with DeMarco, the first thought is like, okay, what's going to happen with Micah Rhodes? What's going to happen with Jonathan Hatton, who had literally, I think, just gotten to campus the week after he ends up taking the Kansas City job. But it kind of is what it is. I think it was also calmed a lot by the guy that they hired, and Dalen McCulloch, and just talking to him as well as DeSef and Walker. George, you were over there with me when we were talking to Walker. I think that both of those guys had prior relationships with him, having been recruited at Notre Dame before he went to the Raiders last season. And I think that kind of, I don't know, not necessarily made everything okay, but quelled the concerns just in terms of who they were going to go out and get. And talking to McCulloch, he couldn't have been more impressive. Just, I think it's a lot of look at my resume. Like he kind of fig jammed a lot of people. I'm good, just ask me. Yeah. Like he kind of did that to a couple people when they were asking like how he's going to, fit in at a school like Oklahoma. It's like, I've won a Super Bowl. I've coached at Notre Dame. Like I kind of know the bit here.
Well, and also he's just chill, man. Like he's just,
he's very confident.
He's very calm. He's confident. You feel like he knows exactly what he's doing. He talked about, just dealing with those running backs. And I think he said, like, they may not want a father figure, but I'm going to treat them like my sons.
Yeah, and I think that everything maybe that we knew about Deshaun, you can definitely tell he was raised by a really good father, and I would imagine that's going to transfer over to the practice field. I think the biggest thing that I took out of hearing McCulloch talk was just him talking about his relationship with Ben Arbuckle and saying from like the first day how open Arbuckle was to, hey, I like what we're doing in this run formation or this scheme. I'm comfortable with doing this, or having players do something else. And I think that that's going to be kind of interesting to see how they blend those together, because if nothing else, you're getting a fresh idea, a new voice in that room that can help create a better run game for Oklahoma.
Yeah, and he also seemed like a guy that had a plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm kind of intrigued to see, like when we talk to Torrey Blaylock or to Xavier Robinson, guys that have been around the program and obviously have played under DeMarco. I think a little bit of like asking Hatton and Walker, it's almost like you're getting like half of an answer because they'd never played for the guy. They, I guess, obviously developed a relationship with him in recruitment, but I'm interested to see what some of the guys that are going to get out on the field and that have been out on the field are going to think of, Thielen and just how he, I guess, operates, because I think we all know how DeMarco operated.
I don't know, George, being around NFL practices, were there a lot of yelling from coaches?
No, not like.
I don't get the impression that
Now,
that's a common thing.
I covered Nathaniel Hackett.
Who's very,
Yeah, I mean, he was not good. And Vic Fangio.
Chill in a wrong way, basically.
Yeah, and Vic Fangio, he was an older coach, but he wasn't a yeller much. But not like a college practice. I mean, there's no, Bill Beatenbow or DeMarco out there yelling at the walk-on running back about holding on to the football.
That'd be kind of sick, though.
But there's probably some intensity, but not like college. Not even like Brent. I mean, Brent's very vocal.
Yeah.
Or Nate Dreiling.
Yeah.
It's just a different atmosphere for sure.
I think Brandon Hall's the only chill guy on the defensive
And
side.
even Brandon Hall's pretty animated.
Yeah.
Based off all reports, I think that I'm putting going to Arizona with Nate Dreiling at the top of my list.
I think Todd
I heard
Bates.
Sooners in the Desert was amazing.
Yeah. I think Todd Bates is the most like.
He drops some F-bombs, though.
Yeah, but he's pretty subdued.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to. You go out there, and if you just like stood there and like what would draw your attention, it would be coaches like Dreiling, Beatenbow, DeMarco. Like you wouldn't be like, oh, Todd Bates is just ripping into somebody.
Well, and the guy that you don't expect that's kind of like that is Ben Arbuckle.
Yeah, Ben Arbuckle's very vocal.
He's very vocal,
and he's
very
just
intense.
running. He's running around
Yeah.
everywhere.
He's all over. And Brent kind of does that now, too. Like,
Yeah.
Brent doesn't sit around with the linebackers like he used to when Ted Roof was here.
Yeah, and the other one is Emmett Jones. He's not the most vocal, but he just looks like a rock. Like he's
wearing tight shirts.
And
all
he's
the time.
just, they're always just so far away from us, the
Yeah.
wide receivers. It seems like no matter what
It is
field we're
always.
on, they're always on the opposite side.
If you ever wonder why don't we have great video of receivers or great photos of receivers, they're
so
never
far away.
close to us.
And a lot of their individual drills just don't offer, the
not
opportunity to have good video.
When we're out there, they're like, doing
just running through
dummies
cones.
or, I mean,
It's not like they're throwing deep balls.
like I think one time in the last 2 years, they might have done some one-on-ones.
And usually, though, spring we do get the best practice viewing because
Yeah.
Brent lets us stay out a little bit longer for
we've
spring.
been out there for like upwards of an hour before.
Yeah, almost an entire practice.
So I don't know.
He
Should
was in
be-
a good mood Monday, so
Yeah.
hopefully that'll
Yeah,
continue.
he said he was happy to see everyone, even me.
That was funny. It was interesting, and
I think this is. I've told you my theory on this. He knows you're the big bad. He knows you work for the big bad Sooner Scoop,
Yeah,
and
He
he's gonna
definitely,
he's gonna take his jabs at you.
I think he reads and listens to Sooner Scoop.
well, Brent, if you're listening right now, you're more than welcome to drop by the office. Come on
Yeah.
sometime. It was kind of interesting. We talked about it on Monday in the kind of the Jim Nagy, Brent Venables breakdown. I find the whole 365 days now with the front office working together, and just how quickly this kind of came together for Oklahoma in a way, coming off of a 10-win season and seemingly finding the momentum that I think Oklahoma fans had been looking for basically the last decade in a way. It is kind of interesting that it feels like, I was talking to somebody over the weekend that there was a period from the Tennessee weekend all the way to the Alabama weekend that like there's 23 something days in there that it feels like kind of solidified the next 5 years at least for Oklahoma.
You talking about from the Tennessee game till the playoff game?
No, from the 2 weeks stretch of going to Knoxville, the bye week, going to Tuscaloosa, like going into Tennessee, going into that Knoxville week. I think it'd be accurate to say we all felt differently about the program by the end of that run. And it just felt like you could breathe a little bit that, okay, probably not going to be looking for a head coach. It feels like the momentum and going and winning those quote unquote big games that had eluded Brent. It just seemed like that was like a very validating
like a turning point.
25 days for Oklahoma. And if they're able to sustain this, I think we'll go back to those 2 trips.
I think that's part of the jabbing is that every week, and it wasn't just George, it was everyone here. We kept saying that this is the biggest game of Brent Venables' career.
Yeah, and
it was
he sarcastically
true. It was
said
But
it
it was
after
true.
every
Yeah,
win.
he said it
And he's
at
like,
the
that
end
was
of
the biggest
at
game
the
of my
end
career.
season, yeah.
And it's like, and I get where he's coming from. He uses that as motivation, and he's always been someone that says like every week is the biggest week, and we kind of are like, okay, it's Illinois State, Brent, but like he lives that way, and at the same time, what we were saying was true. Like the Michigan game was the biggest game.
Yeah.
Those games
because
down the
of
stretch.
the Tennessee game the year before.
The implications of what, this time last year, guys, we were talking about, is it a good thing that Brent's taking over the defense? And I think we all agreed it was good, but like it turned out to be the best thing ever for them. And we were wondering, like, what is this going to look like and how pivotal it was to win like 8 games next year. And to exceed that, I think you're seeing the fruits of their labor pay off now.
Is Brent taking over the defense? Is that this year's we have to run the ball better? Like if they're going to take the next step as a program?
Yeah, I think that's
like
a fair assessment.
The most important aspect of this program.
And I think there's I think at the top it's like run the ball better, but there's so many like bullet points underneath that.
Yeah, there's like tentacles that come out of it.
Yeah, it's like offensive line,
tight end,
it's like
running
so many
backs,
different things. Mature decision making, like in like RPOs and such and those things. Like, what does that look like this next year? Because I think we know that John wasn't making the right read sometimes, and that cost him. And I think that there's going to be so much put on Mateer's shoulders, I think, next season. But I just think the offense as a whole, and Brent talked about it in his 20-minute filibuster on Monday.
Oh, my God, it was so long, Brent.
Was just talking about
long.
just talking about how much better the offense needs to be. Because if they can sustain what they're doing on defense, even if it's not totally at the level of it as it was last year, if they can get better on offense, like, I mean, that's clearly what held them back last year.
Yeah. I think, it's going to be interesting as we talked about Dylan McCullough, Kevin Wilson, Ben Arbuckle. I mean, I think Kevin Wilson, and we've talked about, they're paying him so much money.
You don't give him $500,000 to just be the guy on the sideline.
He's basically you're an analyst, but you're also an architect. I think that's a good way to put it. So I would imagine those three will work pretty heavily hand in hand on the run game, both this spring and going into the summer.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm curious, like, what does that mean? Like, is it schematics? Is it personnel? I think it's both of those things. Is it, just simplifying things? I don't know.
Well, and the other thing, you guys talked about it on your practice report that's coming out next. Like, Amarian Harris could really be someone that helps reshape that offensive line in a very good way.
I don't know about reshaping as much as it is just like I think there's just a general, I guess it'd be natural progression of maturation from Michael Fasusi, Ryan Foje. Like at some point you would hope get paid off for having to play those guys early.
I'm going to say that this offensive line is in the position that 15 offensive line was in when Ben Powers came in that TCU game and it just clicked all of a sudden.
What say you, Josh?
You caught me. I got sidetracked there. So I was answering a question on the board.
He was zoning out.
What say me about what?
The offensive line.
I think Amarian Harris could be a guy that, and I know it's a different position because he's probably would play tackle if that were the case. But let's say Ryan Foje goes into the inside interior, and it kind of becomes that Ben Powers moment from, I believe, 2015, the TCU game. Who was it? Was it Cody Ford that got hurt in that game that left?
Yeah.
And he came in, all of a sudden, the offensive line just started clicking, and the run game started clicking. Of course, you had really good running backs then. But, like, I think maybe they could just be one piece away on this offensive line.
I don't disagree. I like Amarian Harris. I like his play. I like it watching him at Arkansas. I kind of am surprised that Oklahoma was kind of able to lock him up as quickly as they did. I thought he would get – when I watched the tape, I thought he probably should have been a longer pursuit than that. Like, I'm surprised, though, you didn't have to fight. I mean, and I'm sure they did, but I'm surprised he didn't take a few more trips and kind of see what was out there. But
he basically
I like him a lot.
He basically said that Brent taking the spiritual angle with him sold him immediately, and he was just like,
okay.
I'm there. I'm down. Let's go to Oklahoma.
Okay. That is something. I mean, guys, we talk about this in recruiting reports all the time. Like, there are guys that I talk to, and I'm like, that sounds like an OU guy. The stuff he's talking about, that matches.
Very
and that
strong
sounds
Christian,
like the case with Amarian Harris.
And really felt like Brent was the same.
And, guys, there were times last year when I thought, well, okay, Foje's the right tackle. Like, that's the future. And he may still be next year. I mean, he may be the guy in 27, but I feel like Ryan could get so much better by just having one position and saying, this is where you play, this is who you're going to be, this is where we want you, and being able to train, because even you're going to work a little differently as a guard and a tackle. The things you're focusing on are different. Like, it's complicated. For a true freshman to do as well as he did in 2 different roles, I think that's unbelievable. But to me, if you put him in there and, let he and Ozida battle it out, whatever comes out of that, I think you're going to have a pretty good right guard, and you go with the other 4 that I feel like a little bit better. I mean, we know Fasusi's special at left tackle. EPL, there's still so much room to grow. Michael gets bigger and stronger. You've got Marion Harris and all his experience. It's a good blend. You've got some real top-end talent, and you have guys with experience that can kind of anchor everything for the rest of the group.
Well, and you made a good point, too. I mean, when you mentioned guys being able to grow at their position, the injuries have not helped the last few years. I mean, it's just not knowing who was going to be available. Even last year, they kind of went through a little mini injury thing on the offensive. I mean, Fasusi sat out, 3 games last year?
Yeah. That's my question is, who are the backup tackles? If Foje's just playing exclusively guard, who's the backup left and right tackle?
I think Foje becomes the backup.
It might be a situation that Foje's just one of those guys okay, this guy goes down and this is going to be an extended period.
My question too is okay, if Fasusi goes down, does Harris flip over to left?
God forbid.
And Foje,
I don't like the way this discussion is going.
Well, but it's you have to have it, because it's look at what's happened the last few years on the offensive line, and especially at tackle. These guys have not. I mean, last year,
Brent's recruiting with God, I don't think he's going to allow them to get hurt.
I think, George, in a dream world, Peyton Joseph is ready to play left tackle.
Ooh.
Like in a pinch. And again, what gets interesting is the same conversation we have, at quarterback when somebody goes out. Is it a short-term injury? Okay, maybe you run Whit Neubauer out there. Okay, yeah. John Mateer's lost for the year. Okay, we're handing the keys to Bo Bentley, and we're going to see what happens here. So it's a little bit different, but I guys, again, and I know people have heard Gabe talk about it, but I couldn't agree more. Peyton Joseph is a NFL type body and athlete. He is that kind of guy. Now, can he put it all together? I think maybe there were, I heard some talk of, maybe some maturity issues at Georgia Tech, and there's got to be some things he's got to grow into a little bit. But the physical tools are there. If you can let him be that guy, then maybe you don't have to get to where you're playing musical chairs with your tackles. But there's no question. Tackle is it's a razor-thin margin right now for OU, because they just don't have a lot where you say, I mean, and I guess it's that way for everybody, the way college football is right now. But they've got 2 guys that they should count on, and then Foje can probably do the job at right tackle. But if Fasusi's in trouble, that could get confusing real fast.
Okay, one thing I wanted to hit on, George, because I know you have some insight on this, but I think a lot of people heard what Jim Nagy said about Owen Heinecke and that they're not giving up. But is that really the case from the Heineke's perspective?
I think that, I don't think. He's very focused on the NFL right now, and I don't see that changing. Unless, I don't really know how it works, because at some point, you have, if he gets drafted, then obviously, but I was thinking about this the other day. If he went undrafted, could he technically come back? I don't know how that works. I don't know what the rules are, but I just know, talking to some folks, that
he'd have to probably go through. I would guess that he'd have to go through the courts to be able to be allowed back, because I think once you enter the draft per NCAA bylaws, you're no longer eligible.
Right. So I don't know. I know he's going to participate in Pro Day tomorrow, so we should have some clarity. I would assume we'll get to talk to him, and maybe he can kind of say, hey, yeah, I'm moving on, or maybe he'll kind of give the same answer. I don't even know what Nagy means by that they're still working through that. What does that mean?
I think that's subliminal messaging to the OU fan base, that Nagy just wants you to continue
to hate the NCAA.
Hating the NCAA, maybe possibly attacking them. We're not telling you to do that, but if you did, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
I just think that at this point, it's the fan base just needs to know, you need to expect him not to be on the
don't
team
get your
next year.
hopes up that something's going to happen.
But maybe
what
tomorrow.
What a bonus it would be if they could.
Yes. I mean,
that's the thing. If you don't expect it to happen and then it does happen, that's the best.
That'd be amazing.
That's the best scenario. That's the best case scenario. But pinning your hopes that somehow he's going to sue the NCAA and get a year back, like that's probably not going to happen.
It feels like a hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Like that would be my thought on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
So, it was interesting, talking to Cole Sullivan and some of the things that he had to say. You guys were saying earlier, I know that you feel like he just, not personality-wise, but just demeanor maybe and physicality-wise, reminds you guys a lot of Danny Stutzman.
Yeah, I don't know about like personality as much as just like I think
His size
and not necessarily the way that he talks or anything like that.
But you watch his film too.
Yeah, it's like
it's very similar.
It just looks like Danny out there, and I think he's maybe a little bit taller. I'm just kind of interested to see how he acclimates himself.
His arms are really long.
Yeah,
like he's yeah.
I'm trying to,
but I know what you're talking about. Like some guys, you see him like Danny, and you're just like, man. Until you see him in person, you're like, he's a really big guy, like just big all over,
and he's very chiseled. Like
Blake Bell was that way. Like he was much bigger, but like Blake Bell, it's like he's not a super muscly guy, but like his hands are big, his shoulders are broad, like his chest is big. Like that's what Cole Sullivan and Danny Stutzman are kind of like.
He's very long. He was a lot longer than I was imagining.
And one thing that people will tell you about him is his sideline to sideline speed. His is it horizontal speed? Right,
horizontal, yeah.
No,
yeah, horizontal.
Horizontal speed is
deep.
His horizontal speed is really good. Like he can really run people down on the sides. So, and he can cover. And I think that's one thing that Danny was athletic, but I think Sullivan might be a little more athletic. So we'll see. The biggest question for him isn't like physical. Like if you watch his film from a year ago, like this guy has the physical traits to be a really good linebacker. It's can he pick up the defense? And can he be the guy in the middle of the defense calling it with the green dot? Like that is not something that is going to be easy for him. And I wonder too, like, could Kip Lewis be that guy? Could Kip Lewis, I know Kip's going to play the Will and they expect Sullivan to play the Mike, but does that mean that Kip can call the plays? I have no idea. You would think that in his 5th year in the defense that he would be comfortable doing that, but I don't know how. Maybe they prefer the Mike to obviously do it, but
I would say just out of all the other newcomers, just talking about the linebackers, like I know we've heard good stuff about Jacob Curry and what he's done.
Yep.
Just not big enough yet. I mean, he's just not physically. He doesn't look like a guy that would be able to hold up being a starter on a defense right now.
Not a starter, but if you told me that he came in certain packages, I could see it. I think that's how I view a lot of the freshmen. Same with like Bo Jandro.
Bo Jandro.
Like those guys are definitely going to be on special teams. I'll tell you that.
They're big.
Josh, what a joy Dane Bathurst was to talk with. I really liked him.
I didn't get to talk to him a lot through the process. I mean, obviously he was kind of a later guy that Oklahoma, got in on kind of later in the process. But he is, he's an interesting guy because he's in Indiana, but he's from Florida, so he kind of had that feel of, I don't know, like he just was. When I did speak to him, it wasn't what I expected. Like he always was a little. He was kind of a different type of dude.
He was. I was kind of excited walking away from him, just talking about his mentality, and both of his parents, I guess, were extremely active in swimming. I think swam in college. So I don't know. He just kind of seems like one of those guys that sneaks in a way, and we didn't really talk about him. And then all of a sudden you look up in 3 years and he's developed into something maybe almost kind of like a Taylor Heim has over the last couple of years that, obviously will be going into this spring with a much bigger, kind of standing in where they want to use him this year.
Speaking of Taylor Heim, guys, I'm workshopping something. We've got to come up with a term for whatever the big cheetah is going to be, because that seems to be something they
like a different version of cheetah.
Is it a tiger? Whatever you want to call it. But I've been workshopping something for cheetah, because it's like cheetah it's so not ubiquitous. I can't think of the right word for it, but it could mean a lot of different things, and I think it's almost like two different roles.
Yeah, because Kendall Daniels and Reggie Powers were different cheetahs. They weren't the same.
Yeah.
You're right. Tiger might be a good.
We could workshop that.
Mm-hmm. Because I do think Reggie Powers is your starting cheetah, but they're going to want to play somebody like a, Kendall Daniels type, AKA Taylor Heim, in certain spots.
That's going to be really hard to find those guys every
year. Oh,
yeah.
Though. I mean, you can't finding a Kendall Daniels is just, you're not going to. It's way too, I mean, gosh, and it makes me so, you just want to know what it would have looked like if Kendall would have been at OU for more than 1 year.
He definitely had a wasted year. His last year at Oklahoma State, he just wasn't into it, and you could tell.
And you saw, man, he wasn't somebody who made just a ton of, he wasn't just making all the plays all the time, but he would have moments in
the
every
Michigan
game. Yeah, he'll have a moment where you're just like, holy shit.
The Ole Miss game.
He had the big hit in the Ole Miss game.
Yeah. He was fun to watch.
And guys, I know he thought about leaving before that junior year. I'm talking to people around Beggs. I thought he was going to leave then, and then he just kind of came back for another year. I don't know if the market wasn't what he hoped it would be. I don't know what that story was.
I think that's the hardest thing for guys, and just knowing Trace and getting to know him better, being on the radio with us every week. It's almost not embarrassing, but I think those guys feel a certain amount of shame that they just have to get over, when they're homegrown like that and they're at Oklahoma State. And it's not just about going to OU, but just I'll say this. I think guys in Stillwater, it's a small community. I think they get really ingrained in the town and the campus and stuff.
He genuinely enjoyed playing college football too.
And I think they both of those guys really enjoyed playing football at OSU.
Yeah, 100%.
What's Trace up to?
Especially Trace.
Days?
He obviously had a little bit of a better run up there when they were.
He was with the Giants. I don't know if he's still on their practice squad. I need to check in with him.
I like Trace.
Really
I think
good
I
dude.
saw Isaiah Thomas got let go by a UFL team. I need to check in with him.
That stuff I think is about to start, the UFL stuff. So he might be working out with some of those teams.
Yeah.
I do think though, Josh, at Cheetah, I think it's going to be 3 guys that are primarily working there. And it's going to be, and there'll be more, I'm sure, but the 3 guys that I think will be working there are Reggie Powers, Taylor Heim, and Jeremiah Newcomb. And talk about just I feel like those are 3 totally different types of players.
They are. Mm-hmm.
And you could have them in different packages. Newcomb comes in when it's clearly going to be a passing down. Reggie Powers is kind of your in-betweener hybrid. He can play every snap if you need him to. And then Taylor Heim's the guy that comes in when you want to, bring an extra guy on the edge, or you could drop him in coverage, or you could do, multiple things with him. But I kind of think that those are going to be the 3 guys you're looking at Cheetah.
The only other one I've heard, George, and again, this is I don't think he'll have a real role this year, is Nico Jandro. I think he does. Yeah. He fits into that plan. But I agree completely. Those are going to be your 3 that are going to eat up, the meaningful snaps, I guess you'd say.
O'Marion Robinson?
I think he's going to play safety. You need some safety depth. You got to pencil in Bowen and Boganowski as your 2 starters, but after that, who else you got?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of depth
safety
right now.
there. I'm curious who else is back. You got O'Marion, and
I didn't talk to him a whole lot, but Josh, and I think he might have had a boot on his foot. Markel Ford looks really good.
I know that's a guy that I had heard Brandon Hall had just loved forever. Just was a guy that and I know, Nagy raved about him on signing day. So, I think it was something they were in lockstep on. Guys, what I heard is Marion's going to be the backup at both safeties. Like, he'll be the primary guy in both situations is what I was told.
And they obviously liked him a year ago. He's playing a ton.
Brent said on the Oklahoma Breakdown in that interview that O'Marion Robinson will run through your soul. So that's a good thing you like to hear.
That's if Brent's saying that publicly, I think he likes him quite a bit.
Yes.
He has some, for those who remember, he has some Everidge energy to him. Like, not a huge guy, but is just going to put his body out there on every single time.
Where did Wimberly end up?
Oh, that's a good
Marcus
question.
Wimberly.
I want to say somewhere not.
Was it Utah?
That sounds right.
Yes. I think that is right. I think that is right, Josh.
Yeah, it's Utah. Yeah, I had to pull it up.
And he was hurt all last year.
Sure.
So. But I do wonder, too, like I think that they probably, Nagy said this in his thing, that there's a few guys that they would have liked to hold on to. And I think Jaden Hardy was probably on that list. Like, I think he falls in that category of they probably would have liked to keep him for depth, but they also get like he wanted to go somewhere that, he felt like he could be a starter.
That is what's crazy to me about college football now that we don't talk very much about is like in the age of all this roster management, in the age of NIL, like you just can't afford to be hurt a lot. And I mean, if you're hurt a lot, you're going to lose money first. I mean, a lot of money. But you can't be counted. I mean, you can't take up a roster spot for somebody else if you're not reliable.
And it just becomes a deal where this is a pattern. Like, we've got to – like, we can't keep counting on you to be our guy when you can't stay healthy. I mean you're just not available.
They ultimately made some decisions on those types of guys with this past year's team. I mean, I think
it's safe to say most of the offensive line that left, but they made those decisions.
Fair.
Yep.
Jaden Gibson, certainly. I mean, obviously his situation is a little bit different than others, but yeah, like I think that you'll be much easier to be like escorted out of the program if you're not going to be able to stay on the field. Kind of is what it is.
It did find it interesting. PJ's hurt again. And he had foot surgery, which I say that I don't know if hurt again is the right term.
Yeah,
I think he was hurt all season, and after the season was like, hey, you need to go clean that up.
But certainly when you come back from that rehab or whatever that's going to look like and how much you're going to miss of spring, you certainly have to make up for it.
Yeah.
And I think he's getting to the age where like there is no more like, well, he's coming.
Yeah, and Brent implied, Brent implied that he might be the starter there on the other side of the defensive line, which would make sense. But he also said that this is a big year for guys like him. Like he kept saying contract year, and this is it. Like PJ's got to click. And we saw last year, like he played good football at times for Oklahoma, but his role is going to be much larger this year.
And somebody like a Danny Okoye is coming. I mean, I think that it's safe to say that Taylor Wine's locked down on one side. Kind of interested to just see what Wyatt Gilmore looks like with another year in the program, because I know that he was somebody that they were pretty high on at the end of last year. Nigel Smith, for sure. Yeah. Nigel Smith and Trent Wilson, that's 1A, 1B on the interior.
They need at least one of those guys to be.
Or a Bishop Thomas or whomever.
Yeah. They need one of, I feel like they need, because I think Bishop Thomas is going to play, but they need one of Nigel Smith or Trent Wilson to be like a real, like productive contributor next year.
Most certainly. I mean, you're losing quite a bit with Grayson Halton and Dominic Williams.
And they need Jaden Jackson to stay healthy. I mean,
sure.
We forget that Jaden Jackson was, I thought, through the first few games of the season, was arguably maybe the best player on the entire team.
Was it the Michigan game that we came back and was like, oh my God?
He was unbelievable. And then he obviously was dealing with injuries the rest of the year, but he was, if he could do that for the whole season, plus David Stone, who I think is just going to be a monster.
Well, what's scary is how good he was even though he was hurt.
Sure.
Like, I mean, he was still a very solid football player.
Yeah. There's a lot to be excited about if you're Oklahoma. And, I think Brent kind of nailed it. Like, top of line stuff, when you look at the team on paper and your 11 starters on defense or potential starters and 11 starters on offense.
50% of their production?
Yeah, it looks really good. Like the guys that you've got coming back and the guys that you've added, especially on the offensive side. But I think it's the big question for him and this team is who's behind him, because you're going to need some depth. And that's what made the defense so good last year is they had 22 guys that they trusted to play in big moments. I don't know if they feel that way right now. I think that they need some of those guys to prove themselves this spring and over the summer and into fall camp.
Kind of one of the themes of how many twos can become ones.
Right.
All right, Josh, we've talked a lot about what happened last weekend. I don't think we've covered so much of the fallout, and there's a full recruiting report for people to go and listen to, but or not fallout's probably not the right word, but the momentum maybe that's carried forward from last weekend. Let's talk a little bit about that and just kind of the guys that weren't commitments that OU made up a lot of ground with, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. Like, everybody can focus on 5 commitments, and if you want to include Cooper Witten, that's 6 in a week, and that's just an unbelievable run. And obviously that kind of momentum can't be sustained. But what you're hearing from all of these guys was just how well everything went. Like, it's even guys that didn't commit, didn't make any big decisions, they still came away with really strong reviews of everything you heard. And so there are a number of guys that I don't even know if OU fans are all that familiar with some of these guys that I think if they picked right now, they'd probably pick Oklahoma. So I think there comes a question of, probably first off, I think the guy everybody wants to know about is Gabe Osborne, the cornerback from Mustang, possible 5-star. Anytime you got an in-state guy like that, you just have to lock in, and you've got to be on that guy. So I think Oklahoma is right where they want to be. I still think it's going to be really, really hard for him to tell OU no. I think people around him would like to see him at Oklahoma. I didn't hear any of the buzz of like, oh, he almost committed or he's really close or anything like that. I do think he's going to take some more trips. I just think at the end of the day, it's going to be so much easier for his family if he's at Oklahoma that I think that's going to be really, really difficult for people to beat. Joining him in the secondary, and we can break this up into however many pieces we want to, but joining him in the secondary is Bodie Sparrow. Obviously, Oklahoma got Jalen Scott over the weekend at safety. Bodie Sparrow is the big-time top 100 safety from Utah that I think Oklahoma is in outstanding shape with. There's – I don't know if everybody saw it on Wednesday.
Yeah, the Crew Jones.
The Crew Jones tweet is just fantastic.
Depends on this. Yeah.
Yes, like just absolute pressure coming from Crew Jones. But that's part, like, they really are good friends. It's not one of those things where, oh yeah, they kind of know each other. Like, I mean, they're buddies. Like, it would mean something for them to play with each other. So I think if you could lock down those two, your secondary class, almost regardless of what happens with guys like Juju Johnson and some of these other names that we know OU's in on, you've got a hell of a class. I mean, you're right where you want to be. So I think that's a great start. Guys, I would say one of the more interesting things, and, people should we've got Scoop came out on Wednesday. There was a little bit of having to clear some things up on Monday. I wanted to talk to some people, and so we actually did it today. So it's new, it's shiny up on the site. One of the really interesting questions I had was, with the commitment of Tyson Ross, is Oklahoma just Gus Corsair or bust at offensive line, or what's the plan? I don't think that's the case. I think they'd like to have 2 more if they can get them. So it may be, which would be a 6-man class and would be the biggest they would have landed since 2015. That a group that maybe they should always sign 6, because that was Bobby Evans, Cody Ford, and there's one other NFL guy that I'm blanking on right at the moment. So it's been pretty good for OU to go that way with it. So I think they are. I don't think it's a deal where they're saying, okay, we've got these guys, we're going to kind of start narrowing our field a little bit. I think Oklahoma is going to keep chasing elite guys that they think can help them.
Josh, you've been kind of on the train of they should be taking 5 anyways every year, right? I mean, we look at the numbers. We were just talking about it. The depth on the offensive line, you like what the guys are coming back, but the depth is kind of up in the air. I mean, don't you think that they should be probably somewhere in that 5-ish range each year with the offensive line?
To me, 5 linemen is like 1 quarterback. Like, I think it should just be, you have to do it every year. I think you've got to have that many bodies. Because, guys, we know, especially now, I mean, I thought this was true, 10 years ago when you didn't have all this turnover. But we know how it is. Guys are going to leave. They're going to get out of the program. Not everybody's going to pan out the way you hope they do. Take 5 and let it sort itself out. Like, I think that is the way to go with it. And with signing just 2 last year, if you brought in 6 this year, okay, you're at 8. You're kind of back in the realm of like, okay, this can work. Now, I know some people say, well, go get 7 or 8. I think then you start skewing your numbers and it gets a little crazy. But I do think 5 or 6 should absolutely be the number you're looking at. And I think 5 is every year. But I think this year, if you wanted to go to 6 or maybe 7, like I think you can get there. But I think the number in their ideal world would probably be 6 in this group.
By the way, the third guy you're thinking of is Drew Samia.
Yep. Well done. So, yeah, pretty good group there.
Yeah, and Rodney Anderson was in that class. Neville Gallimore in that class.
Dang, that was a good class.
D.D. Westbrook, well, he was...
Josh, are they going to get the number 1 class? I asked you this on the recruiting report, but I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to ask you every day.
George, when you asked me before Future Freaks, I was like, no. Like, it's just not going to happen. I still
would. Downer on that too.
I know, and I didn't want to be. I don't believe that. It's possible. I think with Seneca Driver, because you got to have a few of those guys that you don't expect. Like Seneca Driver is not someone that 3 months ago I thought, well, he's going to be an OU's class. Like I didn't believe that. You can throw in other guys. I didn't have Keldred Ben being a top 100 guy. Okay, that adds a lot to your rankings. So I think it's possible. I would say at this point, I think top 5 is probable. And that's not even something I was sure of a week ago. So I think they are absolutely moving in the right direction. They've got 5 top 100 guys committed. Usually the number for number 1 is somewhere between like 8 and 11. Now they've got, like I've already talked about, Gabriel Osborne, Bodie Sparrow. They lead there. If you get those 2 guys, that pushes you to 7. Now, there's a couple other guys in play. Miles Smith is a guy that I don't think I appreciated how much OU was in that race coming into the weekend. But after he had spent some time around, Miguel Chavis and Brent Venables and the whole staff, I think Oklahoma has a real chance there and could make, an unbelievable DN pairing with Crew Jones. Very, very different types of players, but they kind of fit in that, almost in like a Taylor Wine, PJ Adebayo way, like where one is real long, real athletic, and the other guy's kind of a power game, really physical defensive end. So it makes a lot of sense. And I think he'll be back. He's been to Michigan State a ton. He's been to Kentucky some. Like it's not going to be easily overcome, but it isn't like Oklahoma's going in to Ohio and trying to beat Ohio State. Like it's these are battles that you feel like Oklahoma can get in on, can win, and I do think he'll be back for an official in the summer.
All right. Anything else from leftover kind of from the weekend, Josh?
I guess just I would continue to say one guy I do want to mention. I was going to kind of throw some filler out there just to be the team player that we know I am. But another guy I think Oklahoma has made a nice move with is the Sione Falila. I'm going to get that wrong for sure. Guy from California. This is a guy that I think it's kind of an interesting question here, where Oklahoma already has 2 defensive tackles committed in Elijah Harmon and Devin Robertson. So the thought was kind of like, well, okay, they're going to go after George Toya. And, if George wants to give up the writing career, he's going to play some defensive tackle for Oklahoma. But no, George, really good player. They're kind of different. Where Falila is I think he's probably more of like a Jaden Jackson type of guy, where Toya is a little bit more of a twitchier, a little bit bouncier, could play some 3 technique. This kid, there's some Jaden stuff. He's super powerful, real strong with his hands. And I get the impression that Oklahoma is making a run there. And I know a lot of people maybe don't know that name, but if Oklahoma is to turn him around, they might be turning him around from Notre Dame, which should give you a good idea of kind of where he's at in recruiting. He's a well-known guy. He's a guy that staffs like a lot.
This makes me sad that George Toya probably won't be a part of the class, though.
I'm not ruling it out. George, I think what you get into there is an NIL like numbers game. Like, okay, we've already committed this to.
I'll come
Robertson
for $0, Josh. I'll play for free.
George, now I think there are positions you could be completely useful, George. Defensive tackle, I think that might be about what you're worth.
Yeah, I need 100 more pounds for that.
Yeah. There's going to be some muscle milk in your future. That we're going to have to get serious, man. But no, there is with George. Like I think he's just going to possibly cost you a little more. And if because Texas Tech's very involved, and we know what that means, and so again, I'm not saying no to George, slightly larger Toya. I'm just saying he is. It's a question OU's going to have to think about and kind of think what they want to prioritize.
I do want to know what his heritage is, because I don't know too many other Stoyas, but then to take the S off. Never seen that before.
Why do you think he took the S off?
It sounds like he got banished from the Stoya family. It could be a long-lost brother or something.
It's interesting. It says it's most prominently Italian.
I'm so glad
Italian,
that Eddie's not here right now.
I'm Romanian.
Eddie left to go to the baseball game, by the way.
Pretty close.
Shortened form of names like Bertoya. So maybe George is onto something here.
Yeah,
maybe there is a shortening of the name.
He could be a long-lost brother or cousin or something.
Bertoya is Italian. I guess that sounds right.
People
Sounds
do
like
think when they hear Stoya, a lot of people have asked if it's Italian, but it is Romanian. We come from the vampires and the gypsies.
That sounds right.
Tramps, gypsies, and thieves, or whatever.
I know Eddie's not here, but do we need to briefly just cover the basketball team, I guess?
We had a very, I wouldn't call it like, it wasn't a fight. I mean, we just had a very lively discussion about the future of OU basketball in the conference room earlier today. And look, I was on the board earlier. I
think we're on the same page, though, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean,
I think Eddie was fighting us.
I'll be honest, I don't know where I am on it. I mean, I think people have to understand the commitment to OU basketball with Porter is not going to be any different than it is without Porter. If in fact it might be less. I mean, I don't know. And like saving the buyout is not taking away from OU's NIL. I mean, it's
and Eddie kind of said he's like, well, just take the buyout and use that to buy some more players. But I don't think, one, it doesn't work like that, and two, hasn't that been the argument against Porter like the last few years? It's like, well, just take that buyout money, and it's like I totally believe it's been out there that OU had like the 15th best NIL in the SEC, 15th out of 16.
And we believe that's pretty accurate.
I believe that's very accurate. And so like clearly like they don't have the funds, but I'm also of the opinion too that like, and yes, the funds would make a difference, but you lost 9 in a row. You're going to miss the tournament for the 4th time in 5 years. Like I can't get on board with selling that. Like my point is how do you sell that to the fan base to where you do get more money, or you sell that to the boosters to get more money to pour into this thing? Like we've watched this play out for the last 5 years. The same thing happens every single year. They're on the bubble.
We both agree that Roger Denny is in a terrible situation.
Yeah, I do not envy him.
Because he doesn't know what the fan reaction has been and will be if Porter Moser stays, which it will be even more apathy, even more disinterest.
Yeah, and the moment they lose a game next year, it's like fire him again. And it's just we just do it all over again. And I just think it would be best for everyone involved, Porter included, who I think he's a good basketball coach in some regard, like to just start over. And I do think, and I put this on the board too, and I know it's also been reported out there by some national reporters, it would not shock me at all. We hear his name every year come up with some coaching jobs. Would not surprise me at all if he looks around and says, I need to go somewhere else too.
I just need a change of scenery.
Yes, and I think Oklahoma would be open to that as well, because I just think that the whole program feels like it needs a reset. And even that's even if they somehow miraculously go and win a few games this week and maybe sneak in. Like you can't. the OU basketball program standard should be higher than living on the bubble every single year, and I stand by that. Like should not be, that should not be the norm.
And this is the other thing on the board that I saw earlier. It's like people are like, just keep Porter, save the money. We're only good in stickball and women's gymnastics. Like that's more important to be good in those if basketball is taken away from it. Look, men's basketball is the only other sport at the University of Oklahoma or at any university that makes money for their athletic
and
departments.
they did. I will say though, they didn't this last year.
No, because
but I think that might have been because of the media rights situation. But
yeah,
still, like they are the only other sport that makes money, and we've seen it. Like when the OU men's basketball program is good, people invest in it. People go to the games. People root for them. Like right now, it feels like people are rooting it. Like OU fans themselves are rooting against them so they don't have to watch Porter Moser again for another year. It's crazy.
And here's the thing. Even when OU is good, since the Thunder have been here, it's rarely ever a situation where every seat is full.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that the Thunder are the best team in the NBA right now and are
obviously a better product.
Right. Like it's just, new arena or not new arena, I don't know how much that really changes things. I think it's a good thing in the end, but
I still think it's a good. I mean, I've come along to. I'm glad that basically the city is being forced to build it.
I just think it's time for everybody to kind of reset. It's been the same story all 5 years, and I know we're all going to tune in tonight, and I think they should beat South Carolina, and then maybe they can upset A&M and make this interesting. It feels like we've done this every year the last 5 years, where it's like, okay, they're at the conference tournament and they need to win a couple games to get in. It's just kind of exhausting.
It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, like, what? Okay, so let's say he survives. Like, George, I think you kind of brought this up. I think it's a really good point. What could he possibly do to make next year not toxic? Like, what realistic outcome is there that's not just soon as they lose, fire this whole thing into the sun, like, we don't want to do this anymore? I don't see that. I don't think that's even possible.
Yeah. And even, they're going to go and it's like every year. They're going to go play well in non-conference and make you have a little belief. But I think OU fans are numb to that now. It's like, what are you going to do in conference play?
It got to the point where it's like having a great fast start was a negative.
Yeah. And you look at the numbers in the SEC, like in terms of like the money that's being paid. Like I also don't envision OU just suddenly getting a whole new thing of money, especially if Porter's the coach. And who's investing in that? Whereas like if you go out and you hire, whoever it is, maybe you make a home run hire and you hire the guy from St. Louis or whoever the top candidate is out there, like that might get you somebody to be like, hey, I'm going to invest. I believe in this guy. Like here's some, or Hollis, you go out and hire Hollis Price, which I know some OU fans maybe don't want that, but like you would probably get a lot of people that would be like, oh, I love Hollis Price. I'm jumping in on this. I'm going to donate or whatever. I don't know. And part of the problem is, and I wrote this on the board, is like OU's biggest boosters are one, donating to football right now, and they're donating a lot. And then some of the other boosters like Loves, they're invested in softball. They want their money to go to the softball program. The Kimry family, like they're putting their money all towards the baseball program. Like basketball doesn't have that person, and maybe it becomes Trae Young. I don't know if Trae Young has the money to fund an entire basketball roster, but like that's what they need. They need, boosters to want to donate to their program, and right now they just don't have that.
And what do we like? The top programs are like at 22 mil for their roster.
Yeah, and I don't think OU needs to be there. I think if they can get to like 10 to 12 million, like that would be a great point. And right now they're at like, I think it was reported 6.5. Like that's just not very good.
No. But again, it kind of goes back to everything. Like the way that OU's donor base is, unless certain people want to step up and just throw hundreds of $1 million out there. I mean, they have a guy, and I always feel bad saying the name because I don't think they want the attention. But Tim Headington has basically been the person that has supported NIL more than anyone else.
Yeah,
and he's the whale.
He's funding the football roster.
Yeah, he's the whale, and he has tons of money. He's got this jet flew Brent Venables in when he was hired. It's not devil may care Cody Campbell money, though.
And here's the thing, like when people say, well, Porter just needs more money. Don't you think he'd have more money if he had won a little bit more earlier? Like if he would have made the NCAA tournament earlier? Like, and I'm not saying like his first year, I get that. But like
even
they
a
were on the bubble
16 run. I mean,
yeah, like they were on the bubble in year 2 and year 3, and it's like if you would have had a better product earlier, or had won last year against UConn, which I know was a tall task, but whatever. Like if you had better success, then I think your number of $6.5 million would probably be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the women's basketball team, and I know that there's like this, like I don't even fully grasp it, but maybe some like help that Jenny's getting from outside. But like a large part of the reason the basketball team is being successful, people want to go watch them play. They invest in the program because they're winning, and Jenny won immediately when she got onto campus.
Yeah,
I mean they won the Big 12 2 years in a row in her second and third year. They made the Sweet 16 last year in year 4. Like she's built it. She's won. And I get it. Women's basketball is different. It's harder in men's in some ways, but like that's why there's a difference right now.
Yeah, and women's basketball also, like we sit in the office and complain about it a little bit, but like the difference typically between a UConn South Carolina program and everybody else is usually pretty wide.
Yeah.
And maybe
LSU.
UCLA kind of, when LSU's good, they're up there. Maybe UCLA's one of those
They
teams.
just have a different brand of athlete, and they have more of them. Like when OU lost to LSU the other day, like I think I was saying this in the office. If OU starting 5 could play the entire game, like you ever play 2K and you turn off injuries and you turn off like tiredness. If there's OU's women's basketball starting 5 could play the whole game like that, like I think they could compete with maybe not everybody, but it'd be really good. The problem is like Reagan Beers gets in foul troubles, Verhulst gets in foul trouble.
Or she doesn't shoot well.
Yeah, or Chavez OU doesn't have that off the bench. Now they have a couple freshmen that I think are going to be pretty good for them in the future, but LSU just brings in wave after wave. I mean, they bring what's her name, Fulwiley off the bench. She might be the best player in the country. She comes off the bench for LSU. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and Texas has got a bunch of people that are just different. I mean,
yeah, and they're recruiting.
Harmon's like
well.
6-year. I mean, she's like really good. She
they're
plays like
10,
a dude.
They're 10 girls deep. OU's 7.
Yeah,
and
they're going to get better. I mean, this young group. I mean, I want to see Lofton. I think she's got.
And
a lot
Chavez
of
is going to get a lot better.
Chavez is going to get better if she's still here.
Yeah, well, she will be next year, I think.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch it. I mean, it would be a lot more fun if OU men's basketball wasn't having 9-game losing streaks in the middle of the season. But I'll be honest, it's been fun watching this Porter team the last couple of weeks.
It makes you
crazy because
you're
like,
so
how did
frustrated.
You lose to
You're like,
State?
or to South Carolina, or how'd you blow a 20-point lead at like all these. That's what makes you frustrated.
Losing to Missouri in double overtime.
Because it's not like they lost 9 in a row. If they just won 2 of those, then you're sitting this week you're
probably last 4 in.
Like you're maybe making the tournament. So it's like that's the part that's like
you're making the tournament, not even doing the play-in game
because they are playing good basketball. And like Mo Wagee looks like the Mo Wagee everybody thought he was going to be, and Dayton Forsyth, which sucks because he was hurt. Like it's not his fault, but. Like he's playing great basketball. Jadon
Xavier
Jones.
Brown's been great. I mean,
it's like, where the hell was all this?
It was right there, and they just weren't playing like they can.
Shout out OU Hoops fan Greg though.
Yeah, he's
my guy.
He's dealing.
He lives and breathes it. That's for sure.
No doubt. If you don't know who that is, that's the guy who came up with the hard to kill flipping the bird Porter Moser meme. Yeah. All right, baseball, big SEC. SEC play start for baseball and softball this weekend. Texas A&M coming to town. Eddie is out at the ballpark right now. But good on you, Sooner fans. Standing room only is the only thing left for this weekend. So
the weather's fantastic, too, so
it's going to be awesome. Past all the storms, hopefully. I know the dogs didn't handle it well, but Hopefully everybody else did.
Yeah, my dogs. Finn was fine. Scoops is a little scaredy cat a little bit. But, look, he used to live on the streets. We rescued him. So I think he just was freaking out a little bit. But
I've got one like that, George. One of them doesn't give a damn about any of the weather, and the other one freaks out. So,
but OU hoops tonight, 8:30?
Late.
8:30?
Yeah, which means really like 9.
We're built by the Thunder, though. We know about these late games.
Yeah, I'll probably.
By the way,
to bed.
shout out Oklahoma City Thunder. What a game against Denver.
Unbelievable. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, best player in the world. Kind of crazy. He lives, 10 minutes away from me in Nichols Hills.
I've never had anybody show me where he lives.
I've driven by his house.
Is it fully gated?
I can't remember. It was a while ago, but I have seen Shai. It's crazy too because it's like I saw him at Cava once.
How about this? I saw Ben Stiller. Did you see he quote tweeted Shai's post game about I have all the answers. I just don't. I just need to know the questions. Mm-hmm. The crazy thing about that is, and my God, I'm head over heels. I'm just going to say it right now. I can't be objective about this. I love Jason Witten after Monday, but Jason Witten had that quote.
He did
the afternoon before that game. He threw it out there.
Wait, so what does that have to do with Ben Stiller?
Because Ben Stiller said this is one of the greatest quotes in sports history.
Oh, yeah. Jason Witten did say that when none of us caught it. He literally said almost that same exact phrase in his interview.
I didn't catch it until we did the show earlier today.
Yeah,
or yesterday.
Me neither.
It's the first time in a while I've agreed with Ben Stiller on basketball, but
he's a crazy Knicks fan.
Yeah, he is, and that's okay. Like that's like I like Ben Stiller.
Do you have the exact tweet in front of you?
No, I can pull it up though.
I'm looking. I got it.
It was a great quote though.
He said this has to be.
Shea thing was.
He says this has to be one of the best, coolest sports quotes ever. Incredible player.
Shout out Ben Stiller. He was just shitting on the Thunder like a week ago though.
The Knicks have no shot against the Thunder.
No, and I don't mind Knicks fans. It's the Nuggets fans that are lunatics. Yeah. They've got problems.
No, Josh, we've established over the last month, NBA Twitter people are the worst. Worse than any message board. I would never say that our people are bad. We have some kooks.
I'll say they're bad.
No, don't say that. They're passionate. But the NBA Twitter crowd is just delusional. As delusional as you will find on this
I think
planet.
our board's not delusional. It's they like to have fun and poke fun, but there are legitimate people in NBA Twitter world that are just delusional. They think that this idea that the NBA is rigging it for the smallest market in the entire league. What are we talking about?
Yes, that's exactly how you rig
in a player
things.
That's not from America.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Guys, I live under fire because not only are the Thunder doing so well and obviously
Houston
having a great year,
on
but
the verge
Arsenal.
Of sucking.
No, Arsenal is leading, and they get treated the same way. Everybody's like, "Oh, I don't like the way they play. It's not ethical." The ethic, it is almost a mirror of each other. Being an Arsenal fan and being an Oklahoma City fan right now, because it's the same damn arguments.
Yeah,
and Arsenal's not that good. They're leading England. They're leading the Champions League. They've got a chance to do something nobody's ever done in the history of the sport, which is win 4 trophies in 1 year. Nobody's ever done it, and they won't. Don't get me wrong, they won't do it. But it's just one of those things, and it's the same deal with the Thunder. Nobody can just sit back and be like, okay, maybe we don't love all the things, but they're incredible. They're great, but nobody wants to do that outside of Oklahoma City. And
I think it kind of goes both ways too. I get tired, of sometimes how everything has to be praised by, the Thunder, yes. And it's just a little too much for me. I'll be honest, sometimes I can't handle Matt Pinto just going after the refs.
Man,
it's just too much.
I can't listen. It's just and
it's gotten worse. I mean, it didn't used to be this bad.
Yeah, and I really think the officiating in the NBA is actually
terrible.
I actually don't think it's that bad.
I think it's terrible. Well, certain nights it's terrible.
Yeah, it depends.
Bam Adebayo shot 43 free throws last night.
Go watch SEC women's basketball officiating.
Oh no, it's terrible. I agree with that. It is the worst.
And maybe that's what's changed my perception on it. But
men's isn't any better. I mean, that's a little bit better, but
also,
not a
can
whole
I
lot.
just say too that I don't think Lou Dort is a dirty player. He is definitely reckless though.
Yes.
And both times, both of these the foul he had where he hip checked Jokic, what are you doing? That's just so stupid. And then the one the other night, which I will say in the moment, I was like, what? He's flopping. And then when you watch it, you're like, oh, what the hell's Lou doing? Just smacked him in the face.
How did his arm even do that? I don't know
know
how his arm got there.
He's built to just flagrant.
I would die
basically.
for Lou Dort, but I also am like, damn it, Lou, stop it. Just stop
Well, he
it.
admitted after, the trip, he admitted it was stupid.
It's
and
also
everything.
every time he shoots the basketball, I'm like, oh, God.
I'll say
Clank.
this. If he was shooting the three better this year, we might not be recognizing that he's maybe a little dirty.
He's not been shooting the three well.
I think this is the farewell tour. I think we're watching it.
I don't think Kaysen can be the defender that he is, though.
You're just going to have to make some hard decisions at some point.
I know. Yeah. I've been preparing myself. Trust me.
I think it's probably time to cut loose. Just start Caruso.
Yeah. Josh, I've been approached by someone about doing a Thunder podcast. Would you be on board with that? A Sooner Scoop Thunder podcast?
Yes. Carey, not to air old ideas we had, but we had talked about stuff like that before in the past. I would love that.
We should collab with Down to Dunk. I love the Down to Dunk guys.
Yeah, love those guys.
I got it. Yeah, I like a bunch of those guys. I have a particular affinity for Rylan Stiles. I know he I think he's hilarious. That dude crack. He's got very Eddie energy to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we could just, maybe just try and talk Royce into coming on and doing some OU talk, and then
Royce, talk about NBA Twitter. Royce is in the trenches.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he does not mind getting in the middle of stuff.
I love it. He's always shooting people down. I love that.
All right, well.
Before we leave, Carey.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Don't do this.
Come on. What do you think?
I
want to say this. I want to say this. You have been working on it a lot, and I don't even know. Somebody asked me the other day. Mm-hmm. It might have been Aaron. What's he working on? I'm like, I don't know, but I know he's in there constantly.
I will say this,
and it's the busy. We are so busy right now, so it's a lot to juggle.
I have to make time to work on it, and I will say this, and I think you back me up here. When we have stuff that's finished, we don't usually have to fiddle with it.
Yeah, true. Once it's done, it's done.
We become a machine.
Now, every once in a while, something breaks or whatever.
We had a fan problem the other day. We had a battery backup problem the other. Your light's busted now. I got to go get another.
But
one.
This studio though, we've had very few issues with it. Because
I do it right the first time, but it takes a little longer time.
And we got the interns on it. They're working on the
interns are out right now. We got to put up the acoustical panels. We've got all the cameras in, the new stuff.
I do
Josh.
believe you too when you say if we could record something now.
Yeah,
but
we could be in there right now doing it. It would just be I'd have to keep tearing things down and putting them back together. So we got to get the cabling right there. There's no more cable work to be done, by the way, you jerks on Scoop.
Grimlock,
just stop it with your stupid threads. We're not held back by cabling. It's all done.
Carey, you don't even want to know. Grimlock texts me every other day. Does Carey need some help with cabling? And I'm like, no. And he's for real. He's serious.
Yeah, I mean, people, you'll just get in the way. I appreciate the help. I had a guy text me the other day that wanted to know, hey, I get off this time of day. Can I come help you? Yeah. And it doesn't work that way. We have stuff going on all the time.
And yeah, I've worked with you now for
incredibly kind. That's really nice. You would be willing to do that. But
yeah, it is. Yeah. I appreciate that. But yeah, you're just probably going to slow me down.
Yeah, I was going to say I've worked with Carey for 3 years now. You just let him do his thing. It's like Eddie too. You just let Eddie wanted to use his. Remember when he would use that laptop with duct tape on it?
Yes.
You just kind of let him do it.
I had to go buy him another laptop, a very, very nice one.
He has his process.
And now that laptop sits in the conference room just over in the corner and nobody knows what to do with it. But he won't get rid of it. Eddie does not. He's a little bit of a hoarder. People don't know this. He keeps stuff. Because that
you guys both are.
I'm a little bit of a hoarder. I won't argue that.
Oh, see this, George. I don't know about you. Like, I am a slash and burn. I want to get rid of everything. Like,
I'm a hoarder. Aaron will tell you. I have she's.
You have too much stuff up on your walls in the office not to be a hoarder.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff, and when I moved in with my wife, she was like, "You can just get rid of like half of this. We don't need that, you know." And you know, constantly going to Goodwill. Like, I just got rid of like 5 pairs of shoes the other day that I've had forever that I don't even that I never wear.
How much? Okay, you bought a whole bunch of furniture when you moved back to Oklahoma from Denver to come work here.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that do you still have now?
None of it.
that checks out.
I think we kept the bed for like the guest room, the bed frame. But like the couch I gave to my sister.
Yeah.
I gave a lot of it to like family.
Yeah.
Because she's about to be moving to Oklahoma City.
Brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Tiffany moved into my house that I had bought before we even met, and I got rid of most of my shit, and we kept most of hers.
Like, I had a bunch of, in my old apartment, I had like a bunch of like wall art, and it was like a Michael Jordan poster, Star Wars, like all this stuff, and I was like,
well, you knew that was going.
I know, but it was funny because Erin helped me move out, and she's like, what are you gonna do with all of those? And I was like, well, and she's like, we're not keeping those. And before I could even answer the question,
there's a bunch of really cool like Michael Jordan posters out that they do now. Have you seen those?
I like
Would you like me to get you one of those as a gift sometime?
No, because it would not go in our house. It would not be in there. But I have in my office though a lot of Thunder stuff. So like I have a poster of like them winning the championship.
There's a picture of a guy riding a skateboard over like a vintage Porsche. I think it's pretty cool. I want to get that. I don't know if people have seen that.
We need some art for the new studio to put up on that.
I was going through my pictures the other day. I think I have some pretty badass pictures we could do in there if I could get them blown up. Or just make a mural. One of those walls is I didn't have them put texture on it so we could do a mural. I don't know. We still got to get helmets and stuff. That's the next. We got to
Baker.
That's it, Josh. Anyone out there, if you want to help me with anything in the studio, tell us what kind of memorabilia or stuff you want to see on the bookcases.
Or give us some.
Or give us some, yeah. I mean, we're definitely we're not doing the mini helmets. I want to do the full-size helmet.
Oh, yeah, we got to do the full.
I want to get the helmet, the custom helmet with like the Scoop S on the side of it. It's an OU helmet, but instead of the OU, it has the S. But I don't know. We'll probably slowly buy like the cheaper, other SEC schools so we can like have them facing each other during game weeks and stuff.
That'd be awesome.
We have an ABC Wide World of Sports 1970s media. What would you call that? Not a diesel, but an AV truck. It used to have a cameraman with it in a little. Like if you go to eBay and you look up Wide World of Sports truck.
We should put
all over the place.
The PlayStation 5 in there that just sits in the conference room.
Yeah, that's your fault.
I'll take it home.
No, it's a business expense.
We probably need to just sell it back.
I was going to say, get something out
probably
of it.
Sell it, yeah.
I think we've used that 2 times in the last 2 years.
You used it 2 times.
I can't even judge. I bought one when college football was coming out. I played it for like a month. And then the season started, and I was like, I have no time for this. I sold it to a guy for his kid for Christmas. It's been at least
a year since any of the arcade games have been turned on, I think.
Yeah, we have but they look cool.
Yeah.
I like them in
They're
the
cool
office.
to have around.
But, yeah, we never use those, unfortunately.
We've just been too effing busy.
Yeah.
So, anyway. All right, that's going to do it. Enough with the reminiscing. We'll let you guys out of here. Josh, I appreciate it. Say hello to the fam for us, to the girls. We'll try and get Eddie down there to mentor your children soon.
Well, speaking of, Carey, Lainey has expressed some interest in photography, and she goes, does anybody know photography, like in your company, better than you? And I was like, well, basically everybody, but Carey was who you're thinking of, yes. So...
Yeah, we can teach her on your camera. Maybe she'll use it better than you do.
I have no doubt she will. I can actually send you some game pictures she took from one of Layla's soccer games. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good. I was kind of impressed. So.
I do need to come down there at some point, for some of your stuff with the new studio. So, yeah, we'll plan something here soon.
All right, that works. Let me know.
As long as you're taking me to El Tiempo.
That can be done. That absolutely can be handled.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody,
right,
for listening. We'll be back again next week. It's spring break next week, but we'll have plenty to talk about as we get ready for the start of spring football. We're very excited. We'll have pro day reports, obviously, after tomorrow as well. Probably a good week to have some stickball.
Hoops next week.
Maybe a hoops post-mortem for the men.
And NCAA tournament hosting for the women.
Yes. And we'll see if they get down. Now, Texas, I've heard, is going to the Fort Worth Regional now.
Probably, yeah.
So OU would. Well, they don't play.
They could play
each other there, right?
They could if they're the 4 seed.
If they're the 4, they could play Texas.
Yeah, they could play Texas. We'll see. I hope they end up in Fort Worth because that would be fun to go down.
Although
there.
Texas is a 1 seed, I think that's probably who you would choose, right?
I don't know. Texas looks really good right now.
Yeah, but
you definitely don't want to play UConn.
You don't want UConn.
You probably don't want Texas.
South Carolina.
I don't know. They can beat South Carolina. They already done it once.
That didn't look good the last time.
Yeah. Well, they beat them the last time.
I'm thinking about
LSU
that blew their doors up.
But LSU's not going to be a 1. They'll be
LSU's,
a 2.
but they're a terrible matchup for them.
South Carolina will probably be a 1. And UCLA.
They played UCLA early this year.
Yeah, and they lost by like 13. And UCLA's, though, they're a wagon right now.
Yeah. All right, so, stickball, hoops report, all that good stuff, latest in recruiting. So thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll be back again next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com.